I've just finished editing a short film that's both critically relevant and devastatingly emotional. It's only 15 seconds long, but I think you'll agree it's a masterpiece. These days it's hard to go out and shoot actual footage with actual people, so to keep myself busy and to have some fun, I've been downloading footage from stock video sites and then trying to edit them together into something that vaguely resembles a scene from a Hollywood movie. It's kind of like a puzzle. By themselves, the individual clips have nothing to do with each other, but the goal is, through the magic of editing, to make it all look and sound like it was shot at the same time. So I'm going to show you this crappy little 15-second scene I've been working on. Then I'm going to show you the original footage I used so you can see the actual building blocks in their original unedited state. After that, we'll jump into Adobe Premiere Pro and I'll show you the sound design and color grading that I used to pull all this footage together into a single, breathtaking, awe-inspiring, soon-to-be award-winning scene. So get some popcorn, sit back, and enjoy the show. And that's it. That's as far as I got. This stuff is really time consuming. To give you an idea of what I had to work with, here are the original stock video clips that I downloaded. Now you might notice they're all colored differently because they're all shot at different times of day and under different lighting conditions. And most importantly, they have no sound. I actually did all the sound design for this during the editing process. So let's jump into Adobe Premiere Pro and take a look at how it's all put together. You can see here the 4 clips that I just showed you. The establishing shot of the castle, the archers outside the castle, the knights fighting inside the castle, and then the woman strangely watching them fight. These were all originally in slow motion, so I sped them up to normal speed and I used the optical flow time interpolation to try to smooth out any rough edges. For the color grading, I basically went with a blue hour look. This original clip didn't need a lot of color grading, it was kind of already there, so I just added some extra blue into it to kind of push that look a little further. The shot with the archers needed a little bit more work. You can see it was originally a little bit more tan colored, not a lot of blue in there, so I cranked up the blue. The trick with this was trying to preserve some of the orange along with it. I could have done a little more with masking to refine that, but I felt like this was good enough for now and I kind of liked the look. The fight scene was particularly interesting because, of course, it was originally shot during the day. So basically what I did was go into lumetri color, crank the temperature down into the blues, and bring the exposure down to make it look darker. If I'd had some more time to work on it, I probably would have masked out these windows and put some orange flickering in there to reflect the fire on the other side of the wall. And I basically gave that same treatment to the woman who's watching them fight. This is another day for night treatment. You can see what it looks like here. This was the original shot. And I basically pulled the color all the way down to blue, brought the exposure down a little bit, bumped up the contrast, and then fiddled with these a little bit to get them to look about right. I also pulled the saturation down just to make it look a little more realistic. And then in the color wheels, you'll see I brought the highlights up back to orange a little bit just to tie back a little to the fires happening outside. So that's the color grading. As you can see, it does a lot to tie it all together. However, we still basically have a silent film here. We need sound. Now, as you can see, I've got a lot of tracks of sound here, and these kind of represent all the different things you need to do to tie together sound in a realistic way. For timing purposes, I started with the music. Here's what that sounds like. And then to add some sense of environment and a little consistency throughout the scene, I actually put some blowing wind as well. And obviously we needed to add some bird sounds. The bird doesn't actually open its mouth, so I had to wait till it had its head turned to add in the caw sound, and then some flapping of wings down here as well. Some other sounds I wanted going throughout the whole thing were the fire from the archers with their flaming arrows. And then you can also hear the chatter and noise of the attack kind of happening in the background. To bring the scene with the archers to life a bit more, I added some flying arrow sounds, some impacts of them landing, and then actually a scream in the background. And that totally sounds ridiculous on its own, but when it's merged into the rest of it, it all kind of sounds natural. So then we come to the fight scene, which was the most complicated part, because there are lots of different things making noise here. For one thing, they're both covered in chainmail, so that's kind of jangling together with every step that they take. I found some sounds to kind of represent that, and basically tried to time them with their footsteps and movements. Here's what that sounds like. And then obviously we have the impacts of the swords and shields hitting each other. I won't go into detail on each of those, but here's what that sounds like together. And then I wanted to add some humanity to it with some breathing noises and some grunts as they're attacking each other. And those were actually a variety of separate sounds that I pulled together and adjusted the pitch to make them sound like two different voices. One of the fighters is a little higher pitch, one of the fighters is a little lower pitch, and I adjusted the breathing and the grunts to try to sound roughly similar so you kind of know who's who. If I'd had some more time to play with it, I probably would have spent some time playing with the reverb to make it sound a little more like those were coming from inside their helmets. So now that you know the building blocks, let's watch it one more time through just so you can see it all put together. So that's it. That's how you take the Hollywood magic of sound design and color grading to take totally unrelated video clips and put them together and make them feel like part of the same scene, shot at the same time in the same place, and make it all feel like it belongs together. I'm James Archer, and I make videos about how to make better videos. If you make videos and you'd like to make better videos, you should check out some of my other videos about how to make better videos, and they might just help you make better videos too.